should executives of corporations be held responsible?
I think, actually, you've got no debate, you know what the point is. I think they should. I mean, a lot of the time these CEOs are the ones who make the most money, and I think it's unfair to... because the thing is, who else can you blame? I mean, if you deal with it like case-by-case basis, a lot of the time where there is something wrong and there is someone to blame, it is often the people at the top who have, okayed it in a cynical attempt to get more money. So I think if that's the case, they should be punished.
Yeah, I think you have to look at the direction that each company's taking, really, and I think that direction is always, almost always, judged by the CEO. So I think it's that reason, I think they ultimately will be responsible.
And you just debated the negative. What do you think in real life?
Can this be held against me?
No, this is your opinion, not debate opinion.
Well, if the CEOs are actually responsible, they're the ones who made the entire decision. They knew what the repercussions would be. And yeah, they should, but along the line, there is going to be a person who had a situation where he could have said something and didn't. Well, not that he should be punished, but there should be something out there for him. There's some kind of law against that. When you understand the moral implications of what you're doing, okay, I understand. I'm dumping toxic waste, so what? You can't let those ones get away as well.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to open the case for the affirmative, and I'd first like to start by clarifying a number of definitions that we have. We see environmental abuse as a direct physical action that damages the habitat of local communities. Now, following on from this, our core value is that of justice, the aim to achieve justice for the people in these communities. And our criteria for doing so is ensuring that people take responsibility for their own negligence. So how do we intend on doing this? Well, the CEOs of major companies, we believe, are ultimately responsible for what their company does. We believe that that companies that are continuously, say, pumping waste into rivers and lakes should be forced to stop their actions, clean it up, and pay a fine to help any local communities damaged. Furthermore, we believe that there should be the prosecution of the leading CEO, as we will go on to explain the reasons why in our arguments. So we've explained how we'll do this, but why are we going to do this? Well, we believe that targeting those at the head of the problem for the good of those suffering from the consequences of their negligence. We do not believe it is fair that communities or governments should be forced to pay for damage that they have not caused at all. For example, why should you be forced to clean up your local fishing areas if some other big wealthy company down the river has been polluting it? It isn't your job. We also believe in punishing the leader of the company and not the workers in that company. For example, in this context, we do not believe at all that it is a crime for a worker to simply continue, say, producing the cars in the manner that they are. That is what they are told to do. It is under the direction of the CEO who decides the direction of the company. And primarily, as we said, our value is justice, and we want justice for those people who are often forgotten when we talk about the big industrial corporations. This is to ensure that they achieve the justice they deserve, to ensure that their habitats, their communities are not decimated by this negligence caused by the CEO and these major companies. And we have some examples of that later on. Our second argument is that this is the most effective way of getting changes. It has been shown all throughout history that if you go for the top of an organisation, you are able to ensure the fastest, quickest and best way of achieving change. By putting pressure on the top of the organisation, the rest of the organisation, we believe is shown through the past, is in fact forced to do very, very similar things. Furthermore, it is, as I've already alluded to, it is also the CEO's primarily the CEO's decision as to the direction and the major decisions that a company makes. eventually, it is with him that the buck stops. It is his duty and his job to ensure that the way the company goes is in a way that avoids environmental abuse. And our third and final point is that we believe that by pressuring the CEO and the heads of these companies, it has far wider ramifications. Nowadays, there is a drive towards the responsibility of the consumer. While we don't think this is necessarily a bad thing at all, and in fact it is a very healthy thing, however, how can the consumer truly have a large impact on global climate change if we are not ensuring that the producer themselves is in fact having to take some of the responsibility? For example, we are urging people to buy greener cars, recycle more. Now, how can we do this when the large companies themselves are not aiding the people in achieving this? Also, we believe this helps with many problems that occur in developing communities. For example, in Somalia, there are cases of fishing villages being forced to turn to piracy due to the terrible quality of water that has been produced due to these companies. And in Indonesia, people in the country are forced to move into cities due to the despicable negligence and pollution that is caused by these numerous large industrial corporations. So to recap, if we are able to target this problem, then we are punishing not those who have no responsibility for it, such as the governments of the nations that this is occurring in and the people that live in these areas, but we are punishing the person who has decided this is the course of action to take. The CEO has said that this is the way he believes his company should be run. And it is for that reason that we believe they should be forced to stop, clean up, and pay a fine, as well as prosecution of the CEO. This is the most effective way, and it has far wider ramifications throughout society, not just on that individual company. Therefore, I vote to propose the motion. Thank you very much.
So our first question is: do you think that pollution is always bad?
Is pollution always bad?
Yeah.
I would suggest yes.
Okay. So what would you suggest about companies that are smaller but pollute more than companies that are bigger and not pollute?
So possibly smaller companies but producing more, waste.
Such as small coal plants compared to hospital.
I would suggest that if they're producing as much, if not more, of